Hi, Ross. Good to
Hello.
see you. How are you today?
Very well, thanks, and you?
Thank you so much for coming to this interview.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Awesome stuff. I remember the first time I met you in person
Not too
when
long
we were
ago.
when we were speaking together at the Professional Speakers Association of Southern Africa.
Yes.
It was so cool meeting you and hearing you speak.
It was
So
great to be there.
I said no. As much as, with the passion that we have to develop business leaders and to inspire leaders and to inspire entrepreneurs, we need to have some time to sit down and have a chat.
Yes. That is
Now
good to
we
hear.
are in this COVID-19 crisis, man. It's not easy to be a leader in a time like this.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's very tough. Can I also be allowed to salute you as the immediate past president of SASA and the great work that you did for the Professional Speakers Association?
Thank you. Yes, you may.
Yeah, amazing stuff, amazing stuff. All right, Ross. So, what are some of the things that you think entrepreneurs should do and business leaders should do during this COVID-19 in preparation? Should leaders just be sleeping and waiting for COVID-19 to go?
Absolutely not. I was discussing this yesterday, and I think the people that are stepping back and sleeping or throwing their hands up in the air are just creating a gap in the market for the people who aren't throwing their hands up in the air and who are still working hard. And I mean, now is the time, I think, to like really get your business going out there, sell, get in there, get your ducks in a row. I think it's an opportunity actually to keep going at it, because the ones that keep going are the ones that are going to be there at the end of the line.
Wow. I like that. So whoever is waiting for the storm to go down is actually getting a gap. I mean, they are being left behind by others who are busy working hard right now.
Absolutely.
Amazing stuff. So what would you say, what are some of the tips that you could give? And then, of course, I know we are also going to go into what sort of business ideas could somebody be thinking of? Some people have lost their jobs. Some are going to lose their jobs because of this particular crisis. What are some of the business ideas that they can engage themselves in?
I think a big thing for everyone to do now, and I think this whole crisis is getting us to the point where we're having to acknowledge technology and that we should be using technology. I mean, look at us now. We're sitting hundreds of kilometers apart, and we're having a chat and
Yeah,
discussing this, and it's from
definitely.
using technology. So I think one of the key things that people need to do is learn the technology that's out there for them to use. If you know the technology, you're already one step ahead and you can carry on working because you know it. Uh,
Wow.
that said, I also think, I mean, people are not always going to have access to technology, but people have access to learning. And I think learning is also going to become a very, very big component of this, because there are so many things you can learn just from using your phone and hopping onto a website. And data is not as expensive as it used to be, and you can read things and learn things online that we never had access to before. And we're seeing things with schools now, schools going online, and it kind of, I think, levels the playing field a bit, because now people who wouldn't ordinarily have had access to that perhaps level of schooling or anything like that, suddenly the playing field's level and everyone's got access because there's no geographic limitations anymore.
Wow. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And of course, so are there any business ideas that come to your mind that people can be thinking of?
I think a big thing, and I've seen it with a couple of businesses, and I use my wife's business as an example as well. My wife is a fitness instructor.
Fitness
And
instructor.
yeah, so that's normally a very physical in-person thing, but she has taken the time to learn how to deliver those classes virtually. And
Wow.
she now is doing 4, 5, 6 classes a week
Wow.
over Zoom, and it's working
Wow.
well. And heard of, I've seen it with a lot of musicians now as well, where musicians are finding new ways to do things, and they're
Wow.
hosting their own concerts and things like that. So even if you think sometimes that there's no way for you to do what you do without being in person, often there's some sort of idea that you can have to bring what you bring, the magic that you bring, into a digital space. And
Wow.
eventually we will be out there again. But until that time, we need to think of different ways out of the box. And I mean, I think a big thing there is talk to other people. Don't be in your own little echo chamber, because it's very easy to be negative in this time and this space. So if you can talk to other people that are outside of your situation, they might have a different spin on it, different view on it, and then you can take a different approach.
Awesome stuff. I like that. Who would have thought that a fitness instructor would actually instruct people virtually?
Yeah, and her classes are bigger now than they were in person. So
wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And even musicians, because you hear some musicians complaining that, you know what, this crisis has put us in trouble. How do we now have concerts? But some people, like you are saying, have taken it to another level, and they're actually doing concerts online.
yeah.
It's amazing what technology can do.
Yeah, there was, I think, one of the orchestras in Europe did an entire piece of music virtually with all the split screens on Zoom. It was quite something.
Wow.
All from their homes. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then when you look at probably chief executive officers and other business leaders, I think this would be one of the hardest times, you know, to be a leader, because when you are at that level, you are always thinking, what should I be doing now? Should I lay off employees? Should I keep employees? Who should I keep? Which assets should I dispose of? What can we do? Should we continue marketing? And all those questions. What advice would you give? I'm sure, I mean, in your leadership journey, obviously in running your own organizations and in being a SASA president, I'm sure you have met some crisis, and there is a way you can advise to say, what should CEOs be doing right now?
I think one of the biggest things that needs to be done is honesty. And honesty about where the company is in the space, what is happening. Companies can sometimes think that their employees are not smart or that they don't know what's going on, but people know what's going on.
Right.
And the more you're dishonest about it, the more people are unhappy about it. So
right.
Honesty and communications are two of the big things. And then also empathy for your staff.
Right.
You need to be talking to people and coming in at their level. It's important to still have a heart in all of this. As to what to do, I mean, it's so difficult to define for each company, but it's very easy for each company to be honest. So
right.
Be able to talk to people, find out how they are. I know people who are critical workers who are working at the moment, and their biggest unhappiness is that leadership has not asked them if they're okay or are they worried, and are they fine, is everything okay? And that's a big thing, just that person-to-person connection.
Right.
I think honesty, communication, very big.
And I like it when you say leaders should be able to talk to their teams at their level. Because in other words, for you to be able to do that as a leader, you must be putting yourself in the shoes of your team.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can end up, you know, coming down to their level.
Yeah.
Or coming to their level, so to say.
Yeah, and I think if you're not on the team's level or you're not seeing what the team's doing, you're maybe not leading as well as you should be. You need to be on the ground and see what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think during a crisis, there is never a better time to be more united with your team and probably learn to use consultative leadership. Absolutely. Like you are saying, as leaders, sometimes we think that our team members know nothing. We can always tell them, you do this, you do this, you do that. But they have ideas. Some of them are your foot soldiers. They are the people on the ground. They know what's happening. They know what's happening to the customers. They know the challenges that they are facing on a day-to-day basis, or they were facing before this crisis. So if you involve their minds, I think it can be a smart idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, because people are on the ground and they see how the business runs, very often the business runs very differently on the ground to what leadership thinks the business runs. It's that whole
definitely.
Where people on the ground know 100% of the business, people at the top know 4% of what's happening in the business.
Right.
So they're very important to talk to the people on the ground. And sometimes solutions come from the easiest, quickest ways. Excuse my assistant here.
No, that's fine. Yeah. You know, Ross, sometimes I think as leaders, we tend to ask for people's energy and their presence, but we don't ask for their intellectual. And when you do that, people don't take you too seriously. I like this particular example where somebody was saying, if you are having a challenge with your motor vehicle, for example, let's say it has stopped on the road and you have an idea of what's causing the problem. And what you need is a push. Imagine if, let's say, 3-4 guys are coming by and you say to them, guys, can you push me? Can you push the car for me? They are likely to say, no, we are going somewhere or something like that. But if you say you appeal to their intellectual first before you appeal to their energy, you say, guys, I don't know what's happening to my car. Now you will see everybody pretending to be, everybody wants to feel important. As did you look at the wire that comes from the battery that goes to the exhaust? And before you know it, one of them will say, hey, get inside, we are going to push. So they are happy because they own the decision. They feel like they decided that we need to do this. And they may not even ask you for anything out of it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah. So Ross, I know one big thing as we spend more time online is the issue of cybersecurity. And you are very big on that.
Yes, that's my bread and butter.
Let me close my mouth and hear what you would advise me, what you would advise CEOs, what you would advise entrepreneurs out there.
Absolutely. I think it's going to tie back to what I was saying earlier. Just because this disaster is happening now, don't sit back and think that you're safe. Cyber risk, cybersecurity is a massive thing, and we're seeing it now that with this disaster, people are exploiting it. The amount of mails I'm getting every day with people forwarding emails to me saying, is this a scam? And it's a Standard Bank or FNB or something email saying, are you looking for COVID relief funds? Then fill in this form here. And it's not the bank, it's guys fishing for information. So I think it's very much don't sit back and think because there's this crisis that the criminal elements are also taking a break. If anything, it's an opportunity for them. One of the things that we look at and one of the things that's happening in the world now is something called third-party breaches. And
third-party breaching.
Yes. So if I wanted to attack a bank and steal their information, the bank has a lot of resources that they can throw at cybersecurity. So there are red teams, blue teams, there are information officers, there's security teams, there's everything in place. It's really hard to break into a bank. However, if you go to one of the bank's suppliers, that's maybe a 3-person company that does a lot of dealing with the bank and they don't have the budget for cybersecurity, if you attack them, you can get the bank's information from the third party. So that's become a big risk, and it's becoming more and more of a risk every year as we go on. So every year there's a report that's released, and every year third-party breaches are up and up and up. It's the highest it's ever been at the moment. So one of the things you need to be aware of is this, to tie all of that together, is don't wait until you've had an incident to start protecting things. It doesn't help anyone if that's the situation. So if you suddenly lose data and then you decide to protect it, chances are, I mean, there's civil action, people can sue you. It's a terrible place to be. Whereas if you just put some protections in place in the first place, and I've got a few that I'll go through in our chat, you save yourself a lot down the line. So don't sit back is probably one of my biggest things to say.
Interesting. reminds me, one time I was attending a security conference, and this guy said, how many of you know that your phone is a computer? And everybody was looking like, no, a phone is just a phone. And this guy says, the same way that your phone operates is the same way that a computer operates. It's just that the phone is smaller, the tablet is smaller, the iPad is smaller. And then he asked the question, how many of you have protected your computers? I saw quite a number of hands going up. And then the question was, how many of you have protected your phones? No hands went up. Yet we do so many transactions on our phones these days.
Yeah.
And I mean, to an extent of how many people have antivirus on their phone, you will be surprised. People will put an antivirus on the computer, on the laptop, but not on the phone, where they do their transactions.
And they won't update their phones either, which is something I'll get to. But talking to that point, I've, on the train, found a phone, someone left it on the seat.
Right.
And when I came to the phone, I was thinking, like, how on earth am I going to know whose phone this was? And when I unlocked the screen, there was no PIN code, nothing. And the phone just opened. There was the FNB app, there was email, there was everything. So no, it was quite something, just not having a PIN, and that's your whole identity on that little device.
And it's much easier to lose your phone than to lose your computer, but we seem to take our computer more seriously.
Yes. Your whole life is on your phone.
It's on the phone, everything. You have your videos, you have your photos, you have your apps there. Oh my God.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean,
I think we need to be more enlightened. We need more people like you, Ross, to enlighten us.
Well, I think it's great that you make the point that your phone is a computer. That's a big thing that people need to know.
Definitely.
And like you need to keep your computer up to date, you need to keep your phone up to date.
That's true.
The whole thing with updates is they fix security issues on every update.
Right, right.
And if you don't update your phone, then you're still vulnerable to those security issues. And phone hacks, there's one fantastic one that's out there. I mean, fantastic in a bad way.
Yeah.
What happens is it infects an Android phone, and then the person whose phone is infected, they won't know that they've got an infection, and it does nothing to their phone. But when they connect to someone's wireless network, it attacks that network from their phone. So it also attacks that third party without the person knowing they've got an infection. And I've seen that a couple of times.
Hey.
Very important to keep up to date. And if you've got updates, that can't infect your phone. So.
And there are many risks associated with the phone, you know. I've seen quite a number of times with some people close to me. Maybe you ask for their phone, you want to check something, you realize that, what do you call that thing which shows where you are, like your geographical location? It's on, and the Bluetooth is on. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you aware the dangers? And the person is just looking at me innocently. I mean, you are putting yourself in. Obviously, we know that those people who are malicious out there, even if you don't put your geographical location, they will still do something. But we need to try and avoid helping the thugs to attack us. The same way that we try and avoid criminals from getting into our homes or taking things from our pockets, we need to do the same online as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that ties into one of the things I wanted to say is your email address. Your email address is like the keys to the front door of your house.
Right.
Because if you think about it, now people have often got the same password for their Gmail account that they use everywhere, on Amazon, on Takealot, on wherever. So what happens now is someone finds out your password somewhere, and then they go into, and it could be some silly service that you used somewhere that they lost the database in a breach, and now that password's out. They see your email address is Gmail. Great, let's go check if we can log in. And then yes, they can log in. So what do? They change your password so you can't get back into your email. But then it's one step further. Let's go to Amazon. Let's go to Takealot. Let's see what happens if we reset password. Where does that password go? It goes to your Gmail. So by having that password and having a not secure password and a password that's the same on everything, people can come and just clean out your house, basically.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
And if I go into someone's sent items and I search for ID number or passport or something like that, I guarantee you there's been a visa application and all your details are there. So it's a scary
So
tool.
being online is a good thing, but many of the people are not trained to be careful online.
Yeah, you've got to keep your security gate locked.
Yeah, because for example, like right now, Ross, we are in this meeting, right? We are making this discussion. Did you tell your neighbors that you're going to be discussing with me? Obviously, no. You know, so you find that I don't tell my neighbors that I'm going shopping. I don't tell my neighbors that I'm going to South Africa or I'm going to Burundi or I'm going to France, but I will tell the whole world.
Yeah.
I'll be putting photos and I will say Wilbert Mutoko is at OR Tambo. Wilbert Mutoko is now at Heathrow.
Yes. And that's a physical
and I'll be sending photos for everybody to know that I'm away.
Yeah. No, it's
That's
crazy.
strange things that we do.
You know, I still remember consulting with someone. It was a couple of years ago, because I know Instagram and Facebook have stopped it now, as far as I know. But every time you take a photo with your phone, generally it'll add some information to the photo saying where you took that photo. If you have the right tool on a computer, you can see the GPS location of that photo. And this friend I knew moved into a new house and the alarm system wasn't working. So she took photos of the alarm system that wasn't working and then posted it on Facebook to say, oh, my alarm system isn't working. So now it's the location of the house saying the alarm system's not working and showing me what model of alarm system. Which is like, no, take that down, take it down now.
That's very scary.
That's crazy. But they have stopped that on Facebook and Instagram now. They take that out.
Right.
It's out there. So if you email a photo, that information's in the photo.
Beautiful. And I like something you said, Ross, where you said that leaders should not wait. You should not wait. It's just like at your home, you put security features, you put burglar doors, you put burglar windows, you put an alarm, you don't wait until you're robbed for you to do something.
Yes.
And you see that criminals tend to usually think ahead. That's why somebody was saying, if you are going to be secure, you need to learn to think the way robbers think or the way thieves think. Because, for example, when these masks came, you know, when the issue of sanitizers and masks and COVID-19 came, I actually heard that in a certain country, there were some thieves that were giving out masks for free. Like at the traffic lights, they are well dressed. They say, we are from the Ministry of Health. We have been asked to distribute what? Masks. They go into homes. They say, we are distributing masks for free. Those masks have got, what do you call these drugs, the dangerous drugs?
Yeah.
So you put the mask, they say, test it. You put the mask, you're gone. They take everything they want.
Oh, wow.
You see? So they always think ahead. They think ahead. We are worried, oh, what will we do with COVID-19? They are already in business. They are already doing masks. While you are still thinking about this one, they are at another level. So I think we need to do the same even when we are virtual.
Yeah, there is no excuse anymore for being ignorant about security. We've got along for a long time just using the internet as and when, but now that we're in this situation, we have to use it. And the world's not going to be the same again after this. People are going to need to become more savvy about being online. I think a lot of companies, I know of one company already that is canceling their lease and they are shifting their whole business to being remote. Because online, now they don't have to pay, they don't have to pay lease anymore, they don't have to pay coffee, they don't have to rent a coffee machine, they don't have to rent water machines. And then they've got more fluidity with people remote. So it's not going to be the same world when we come out of this, and we can't sit back anymore.
Yeah,
it's
as they say, it's the new normal.
Yes. Well, I mean, if I look at it, I've been working remotely now for almost 5 years. So I must say, like, lockdown is not really different for me, except for the fact that I can't go to gym anymore and I can't go to the shops all the time.
Wow.
but I've gotten used to working at home. So it's very different for me compared to someone who's never worked at home, and we've never had the support for people to work from home and things like that. And a lot of companies are finding that people are being more productive at home because you want to prove that you're working.
Yes.
And it's really working well for a lot of people. And you're getting to spend more time with your kids, perhaps. It's a different world, and I think people are going to have different demands after this too. So you're going to have employees that want to work from home, and they
Definitely.
are.
Definitely. Ross, I would like you to feel free to share with us every other thing that you have for us in this particular meeting.
Cool. So, I mean, I've got some stuff on the cybersecurity side, and then also I wanted to share some software that I use and that I've been using in my business that's just so beneficial to me, and it's worth every penny. So I'm going to go through both of those, and yeah, let's jump in when you want to.
Please go ahead.
I mean, we've spoken about email passwords and things like that. So one big thing is just make sure you have a strong email password. Even if your other passwords are the same on different services, it's not a good idea, but your email password must be unique and it must be strong, hands down. But now in a corporate setting, when you've got staff and things like that, you need to make sure their passwords are strong, and that can be difficult sometimes.
All right.
So one thing you want to look for on any email service you have or anything like that is something called two-factor authentication. Also, it's written 2FA.
Right.
And what that does is it's very much like banking. It'll send an SMS to your phone. When you sign into your email or anything like that, you put your password in. It'll say, okay, you need to prove you're you on this device. Put in the 6-digit code. That is a phenomenal security feature. It's so underrated because some of the biggest hacks that happen is from those phishing emails. The one that I see often is someone will send a purchase order, and it's not actually a purchase order or anything like that. It's just a link to enter your username and password. So someone will think they're getting a purchase order or a sale or something like that. They log in, they type in the password, and then the other person's got the password. If you've got two-factor authentication enabled, that doesn't matter if someone gets your password. Because now, yes, they can get past that first line, but then they're going to have your phone as well. So two-factor authentication, very, very important there. The other one that's kind of security 101 is encryption on your machines. Now, thankfully, iPhone, Android, everything after I think Android 4 and iOS 9 is all encrypted by default. So if you've set a PIN on your device, you're golden.
Right.
But when it comes to your computers, you want to encrypt that too. If someone steals your laptop, they can take the hard drive out. Yes, you've got your password on Windows or Mac, but that means nothing if someone takes the drive out and plugs it into another computer. They can copy anything they want off. Whereas if you encrypt your hard drive, that becomes a paperweight if someone removes it. So they would need to know your password to actually log in and get any information off the device. So very, very important. So, and on Windows, in Windows Professional, it's called BitLocker, and you can enable it just going into this, right click on your drive and say turn on. On Mac, there's something called File Vault. So if you go into settings and go to File Vault, you can turn it on there. And Windows Home is a little bit more difficult, but I'm sure one day soon they will include BitLocker there.
Right.
Windows Home, you can use a free tool called VeraCrypt, which is very, very good.
Okay.
Then I think the other one was just, like I mentioned earlier, keep everything up to date. Having your updates run regularly on your phones and your laptops protects you from people trying to exploit your machine. So
right.
Very, very important to have that there. And then, yeah, we spoke about passwords. So I think that's the main things on the cybersecurity side. If you want to really up your cybersecurity game as well, have a different password for everything you use. And it's easier said than done.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say that.
About 450 services that I've got.
Right.
But there are tools out there like LastPass, KeePass, Dashlane, 1Password. And what these tools do is they memorize your passwords for you. And they generate secure passwords for you. So you just need to know your password for that service, and it will fill in everything else for you. That way, if you lose a password somewhere, it's that one service you lose. It's not your
I
email
see.
keys to the kingdom. You just lose one thing. So I think those are my big ones for cybersecurity.
Okay, fantabulous. All right, so are there any apps that you would recommend to entrepreneurs and business leaders?
Yes, and some of these are going to be like focused more on entrepreneurs and some of them on business leaders, but for any like SMME app, there's value in some of these. So two that I've looked at very, very recently is Xero Accounting, Xero.
Okay.
Coupled with an app called Receipt Bank.
Receipt Bank.
If you want to like automate your accounting, I know a lot of entrepreneurs do not like the accounting side of things. I am one of them. I hate accounting.
It's not easy. Even me.
No, so, like,
I know how to do accounting, but it's very painful.
I love my accountant. He sorts out everything for me, but Xero and Receipt Bank automate so much of it for me. Because now what I do is I've got Xero integrates into everything. It's crazy. Xero is, as far as I know, it's the biggest contributor to gross domestic product for New Zealand now.
Wow.
And it's their software it's a New Zealand-based software.
Wow.
But what Receipt Bank is, it's a app on the phone that you can take photos of your receipts. And it automatically translates the receipt, including what currency it's in, date, time, invoice number, into a submission, and it submits that into Xero for you, so there's no expense claims.
Okay.
Handles everything off the bat. It's amazing. All I do with my expenses now is just take a photo and throw it away.
Wow.
So fantastic tools.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then with the space that we're in now as well, working remotely, so Zoom, like what we're in now, investing in the premium Zoom is well worth it.
Right.
You're hosting regular online meetings, things like that, and there's so many opportunities from it, because you can do interviews, you can do webinars, you can do a whole new range of things that you would normally do in person, you can do online, and you just keep finding new ways of doing things. So Zoom is very good. But what's also very good is Microsoft's alternative, which is Teams. And Teams is part of Office 365, which is also invaluable. The time savings from getting Office 365, where you get your email management, your calendar management, things like task management, your meetings like this, it's all included for one price, and it works on all your devices. So if I add a calendar appointment in my phone, it'll be on my PC, it'll be on my laptop, it'll be everywhere. I've got OneNote that I use in it as well, which syncs any notes that I take on any device, and it can even search my handwriting. So I write notes on my iPad with the Apple Pencil, and I can search the text on the PC, and it'll search my handwriting, which is just blows my mind.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think the other two that I have is LinkedIn Premium. Don't stop with LinkedIn Premium. I know it's expensive. It's a very expensive tool.
Yeah.
The detail that you can search new leads for sales is just astounding. So I can say, so normally on LinkedIn, you can search for people by name, and maybe if they're related to someone you know, or you know the company. If you've got the premium LinkedIn, you can say, look, I want every chief information officer at companies that have between 50 and 200 employees that are based in Gaborone and Pretoria, and they have been in the position for a minimum of 4 years. Those are the kind of details you can search on, and you'll get 13 different names that you can then go contact, and you can message them directly even if you're not connected to them. So it's incredibly valuable sales-wise for targeting specific people. In my business, I don't take a blanket approach for sales. I target very specific companies that I want to work with. And LinkedIn Premium, I can see exactly who's employed there, who are the managers, who are the directors, and I can talk to them directly. So very, very valuable there as a sales tool.
I used LinkedIn Premium for a short time, and I felt like, this seems to be pricey. But from what you're saying, I'm learning.
As long as you're using it regularly, you get that return on investment, because it is an expensive investment. But you know, if I can get out of, say, 15 people I contact in a month, if I can close one contract that's going to be a 6-month contract, that's effectively paid for LinkedIn for the next 6 months. So I view it that way. I view it as a sales tool, and when I make a sale, that's paid for itself.
That's very strategic.
Yeah, I love it. Excuse me, having water. I've been talking all day.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
And then that's the beauty of Zoom, I suppose. We're all in lockdown.
Yes, of course.
Then the last tool, and it's probably one of my favorite tools, is something called Calendly. You would have seen the link that I sent you as well.
Yes.
It synchronizes into my calendar in Office 365. So it knows when I've already got appointments in place. And then anyone who wants to book time with me, there's none of this emailing back and forward saying, I'm available at 2 o'clock on Wednesday. What about you? Oh, no, I'm not. I can do Thursday at 1 though. Oh, no, I'm not available on Thursday at 1. Let's do Friday at 12. And you end up arguing about a date for an hour.
Right.
Whereas Calendly, it already links into my calendar. It knows what times I'm available. And anyone who goes to my link just gets proposed like, well, these are the times Ross is available. Select one that works for you. And the second you select one, it books it into my calendar for me. It sends that person a Zoom link if it's an online meeting. If it's offline, it asks for their address and it puts it into my calendar. So in 10 seconds, I know exactly where my meeting is, who I'm meeting with, what time. It's booked in my calendar. I don't have to worry about it. You can book buffers, so if you need travel time. So for any in-person meeting that I do, I've got 45 minutes before and after for travel, and it just does all of that for me. So whenever
I found it to be very smart.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well worth the time and the money to buy the app, and it's not a very expensive app.
Okay.
It saves in the long term, like you wouldn't believe. It's saved me so much time and effort.
Wow.
And it links into my website too. So with my blog and my articles, I put a link at the bottom that just displays my calendar. So if someone's interested, they can just book my time straight away. So I've had people where I don't even know who they are and I've never spoken to them in my life, but suddenly I've got an appointment with them in my calendar.
Wow.
It's really great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
I know we have talked much about entrepreneurs, business leaders, and we have touched on cybersecurity. Do you have any words for speakers out there? I know speakers, quite a lot of speakers are feeling like, man, this crisis is messing us up. What advice do you have for them?
I'm going to go from a technical perspective and a technology perspective, because we're in a space now where it's so important.
Yeah.
What I would say is talk to your fellow speakers, book time together, schedule Zooms with each other, and learn Zoom well. Learn Teams well. Whatever tool you're going to use, learn it well, because there is such a flow of speakers at the moment. I mean, everyone who would be presenting online in one region or in person in one region is now presenting online to the world. So we have this overflow of speakers everywhere. Everywhere you look now, in every email is a webinar or a course or a virtual keynote, and there's just so much noise. And I know I left a meeting the other day because, you know, there's so much time that we're competing for now. I went into a meeting and the speaker couldn't get Zoom right and kept apologizing. Oh, I don't know how to use this. I should have looked at this beforehand. Yes, she should have looked at it beforehand. Because then I was like, you know what, I've got other stuff to do now. I'm leaving. Had that speaker known the tools, totally different story, because then engaging the talk could start, it's being valuable to the other person's time, because people are giving them time. So it's respectful for your audience to know the tools that you are using. We're expected when we're on stage to know what we're doing on stage. This is a stage. So know the tools you're using. get familiar with it. And the best way to get familiar with these tools is to play with them. So chat to fellow speakers, connect with a Zoom meeting for an hour, make each different person a host for 10 minutes, and then they can play around with breakout rooms and everything.
Right.
It works really
wow.
well.
That's amazing. So what I'm getting from you is that you never become an expert in something without you practicing. The same way that we normally, you know, for serious speakers, if I'm invited right now to go and speak at, let's say, Barclays Bank, I will not just pitch up next week, Monday, to speak without having gone there before, where possible, or sending someone to go and see the venue, see the mix of colors, what PA system do they have, and all that. Do they have a whiteboard? What do I have to bring? What do they have? And things like that. So the same thing, we need to take our audience seriously online so that we start on time, the same way we would be expected to start on time there, and we cannot be fidgeting with tools. That's a very big one.
Yeah. No, it's you've got to know your trade. And our trade has just expanded. So
yeah. And also, like you were saying, I attended a webinar the other day, and guess what? I say to myself, we are in a crisis and I need to be more serious, because now I can't attend workshops, I can't attend seminars. What I can attend are webinars. So what do? I get this guy that I really believe in. I mean, he's a global speaker. He says, oh, we are going to be doing this webinar, and I'm coming with my guy. He's better than me. And I'm like, wow, this global guy has a better guy. You know what I did, Ross? 4 a.m. I was up. 4 a.m. I was up for a webinar. That was my first time ever since I was born. 4 a.m. I'm up for a webinar to learn, you know?
Yeah.
I get there, these guys are just doing chit-chatting. 20 minutes into the webinar, I'm wondering, what is this thing all about? These are two supposedly big speakers and they are just wasting our time. Is it because it's free? They're supposed to give me value. I can't wake up so early. I leave everything and you guys are just chit-chatting. I had to leave. I said, I learned a lesson from there. I said, so, you know, when you are speaking virtually, you need to respect your audience because people have other things to do.
Yeah. We hosted a webinar, well, not a webinar, we hosted a half-day seminar today and training. And we had to be very, very clear that, you know, we're going to open the Zoom room at 8 o'clock and people can start joining. And you can chit chat as much as you like you would normally do around the coffee at a venue or anything like that. But at 8:30, we're starting. And at 8:30 on the dot, there was the call, like, right, we're starting. We didn't have a few people arrive yet, so we made the call to delay 10 more minutes. But we were absolutely adamant that we're starting at the right time. We're going to kick off now. And then we did it like we would do anything in person. And that's exactly it. You make such a good point there. You've got to maintain that same professionalism online as you would in person. Yeah,
because right now, isn't it, people have other things to see. They have other things to watch. Yeah. So if somebody is hooked up to whatever you are doing, it means they are missing a movie somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they do their cost-benefit analysis, they need to see value in what you're doing.
By the virtue of them being there means they see value in what you're going to do for them.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
You better come to the party, basically.
Yeah. And the difference between, you know, physical event and virtual is that sometimes, let's say Ross was listening to me and I'm a boring speaker. It may not be easy for you to stand up and pack your things and go. You just say, hey, let me wait until it's time. But the virtual, you are out.
Suddenly it just becomes a picture of someone.
No, Ross, it has been a wonderful time. So many things to learn from you. I really, really appreciate your time, and I'm sure the audience will appreciate your time as well. I don't know whether you have any parting shots.
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. I think very important, and I've really appreciated our time together here now, that we're not sitting back.
True.
And I think I can't stress that enough, that I really think this is the time that people should be really focusing on how do we make ourselves different at the end of it. And even for speakers, you know, I was chatting to one of the guys in the NSA, the American speaker side, and he was saying, you know, from what he's been chatting to people, because of these lockdowns, people are going to be craving physical contact and in-person interaction again afterwards. I know,
Right.
I mean, I'm at home for 4 weeks now, and I am craving just getting out into the world to see someone. So I think that's a tremendous opportunity for speakers if we can just wait it out. And I think businesses as well, there's going to be a hunger after this to try and keep economies going and things like that. So I really think don't sit back. Like, this is the time to do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ross. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll catch up later in a different Zoom meeting, right?
We shall indeed.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Wilbert. Cheerio.
Okay.